The breath is limitlessness itself. The breath is the divine. The breath is unlimited, unfathomable love. The breath is source, the one. And it's when I allow myself to say, this shit here, this moment sucks. No bueno. I'm not happy with how I'm feeling. I don't know if I'm having a heart attack or what the heck. However, my breath hasn't left me. Source hasn't left me.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sunshine and Rain, a podcast centered around the joys and the pains of pivotal life moments and the good that can come out of giving yourself the time and the space to grieve. I'm your host, Victoria Fortune, and today we're discussing how to heal from grief using breathwork. I'm in the studio with certified Conscious Connected Breathwork coach Kathleen Booker, also known as the Jedi of Calm. Really looking forward to learning more about what breathwork can do for people healing from grief or trauma, and what she's learned about the power of breathwork through her teaching practice. Kathleen, thank you for joining us today.
I am honored, really, really honored to be here. I'm really, really happy. The breath is incredible, and the more that I'm able to share it with you and with others, it's my mission. It's my purpose. So thank you.
We are honored to have you. I think it would be appropriate if we start this session out with some breath work. Do you agree?
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to invite everybody to just uncross their arms, uncross their legs, and allow your forearms to rest on the tops of your thighs. If your chair has armrests, it keeps, as you can see, your shoulders in a stressed position. So let your forearms rest and close your eyes or look down at the tip of your nose. And in this right now moment, just do a gentle, gentle sigh. When you complete that sigh, go back to breathing through your nose. Your inhale flows into your exhale, and your exhale flows into your inhale as we gather around us our ancestors, our guides, our angels, our teams. We call them to lift us, cover us, go before us, trail behind us, and flank us to our left and to our right. We'll breathe through our nose, and the visual I always use is that of a wave. A wave comes into shore, and then it melds back into the ocean. It comes into shore and melds back into the ocean. Your inhale flows into your exhale. Your exhale flows into your inhale, and you feel whatever went on before this moment now, that just softens, dissolves, disappears as your inhale flows into your exhale, and your exhale flows into your inhale. Your lower belly softens, your mind relaxes, and you can taste the power of our ancestors, your angels, in your inhale and exhale. Beautiful. Open your mouth gently, take a breath in. Through an open mouth, just let it go. When you complete that exhalation, go back to breathing through your nose and feel the life force within you increase. Life with a capital L. Deepen your inhalations just a little more. Good. And as you're breathing, as your inhale is flowing into your exhale and your exhale is flowing into your inhale, it's an easy breath. The breath is sweet. The breath is loving. So it doesn't have to be a big, deep inhalation, a hard exhale. No. Easy. Your inhale flows into your exhale. Your exhale flows into your inhale. And in your mind's eye, in this right now moment, feel, imagine, know it to be so that in this moment, your ancestors are lifting you on high from your very own throne. Feel it, taste it, feel the joy and the love with which they raise you. See the smiling faces of your ancestors, your guides, your angels around you. Open your mouth, take a breath in, and just sweetly let it go. Beautiful. Course in Miracles says, love created me like itself. God created me like itself, or fill in whatever works for you if God doesn't work for you. Feel the joy of the breath. Feel the love of the breath. Feel the power of the breath. Once more, open your mouth, take a breath in. Lovingly let it go, knowing you are safe, you are loved beyond measure. Gently wiggle your fingers, gently wiggle your toes, and open your eyelids.
That was perfect. Oh my goodness.
It was very clear that we are to see and know that we are lifted on high and that our ancestors are with us and know so much for us how well we're doing and how proud they are of us. So whenever you watch that, that is present.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I felt like it was also very timely considering we just had a mini earthquake.
Well, now, boo, that's a whole nother story. Yes, we did.
For those who don't know, can you give us a brief overview of what people can expect when doing breath work? What can they expect to happen in a breathwork session?
You know, that is such a loaded question because every breathwork session is different. The end, I always say, is the same. You will feel delicious and delightful. However, we're different every single second of the day. For instance, I was just in a freaking earthquake. So how I was 20 minutes ago was not the same woman that walked through the door. We're different at all times, in addition to which our souls are ready to heal, manifest, release, dissolve so many things at many different points of our day, of our breaths. So I say that and I say, what can you expect from a breathwork session? A healing. And when I say a healing, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, please hear me very clearly. I am not saying to stop taking your medicine or to stop doing what your doctor says. Hear that clearly. However, the breath is so loving that it heals in a very subtle yet incredibly powerful way. So a healing will take place and you'll know it sometimes. Sometimes you can feel it and other times you don't. But I tell you, it's like if someone gives you a check and says, I haven't signed it, it's made out for $2 million, but the bank knows me, take it to the bank and they will cash it without a doubt. And you will feel really relaxed at the end.
Yeah. And for someone who is grieving or has suffered a loss or a breakup or has just lost a job, what are ways that breath work can help in those specific situations of grief?
It supports you to get through that moment. It allows you, it's so much. And my beloved mommy transitioned, and I'm inside out, really. The breath has supported me to put one foot in front of the other, and even more importantly, to sit down when I need to, and to not believe the hype of the collective consciousness, which says, well, TikTok, they transitioned 2 seconds ago, so you ought to be able to go climb Mount Kilimanjaro or whatever. And people say things out of just being uncomfortable and not knowing, and also sometimes stupidity. But to be able to discern, which is very important, I ain't got nothing right now for nobody. So I'm going to sit down here, and to sit without self-judgment and without berating oneself and without feeling, well, I ought to be able to do this. I ought to be able to go back to work. No. Your mommy just passed away, or your pet, or your lover, or your partner, or you've gotten your 99th no for a job application. No, you're not going to be able to jump up and go run a marathon. To be able to take care of yourself. The other thing that I find that is very important is to hold the pain of the loss, whatever it is. And as you and I have chatted about before, grief shows up as so many different things. To hold them both simultaneously. That is how I share with my clients, we're able to move forward. Life is gonna life.
Yeah.
Shit's gonna pop off.
Totally.
That's just how it is. People are gonna leave the planet. Our physical eyes are going to see just absolute horror. And the horror, the pain, the grief, you to be able to hold both simultaneously. That's how we're able to heal breath by breath. And I put the word heal in quotes for grief, because I don't know if we ever heal.
That's true. I never thought about that.
100%. I'll always have a hole in my heart from my, who the hell is going to fill my mother's place, you know? I'll always grieve. However, being able to hold the massive hole and be in life is important in order for us to move forward. And the healing, I use that word, you see, it just comes forward. The momentum, the energy, the sustenance, and even more important, the connection with the Most High. To remember that I'm connected with the Most High, and that strength is limitless. And to eventually be able to remember with the breath and connect with my limitlessness, to remember it. And the limitlessness also not only in moving forward as the collective consciousness says, but also to sit in the pain of the shit.
Yeah. But that's tricky because sometimes when you do sit in the pain with the pain and the shit, you can develop anxiety and panic attacks.
The breath is limitlessness itself.
Mm-hmm.
The breath is the divine. The breath is unlimited, unfathomable love. The breath is source, the one. And it's when I allow myself to say, you know, this shit here, this moment sucks.
Mm-hmm.
No bueno. I'm not happy. And to be able to trust my breath, to surrender, which can be a triggering word. Don't get triggered by the word surrender. It's a very powerful word. To be able to say in that moment, I'm not happy with how I'm feeling. It's a little effed up here right now. I don't know if I'm having a heart attack or what the heck. However, my breath hasn't left me.
Mm-hmm.
Source hasn't left me. My breath has not left me. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
When my mother passed, I was sitting one night and I thought, holy mackerel, I'm having a heart attack. Do I call 911? And I'm trying, again, control. That's another thing I want us to talk about.
Sure.
The misbelief that I'm in control. And I'm thinking, okay, let me get my breath under control. I teach this shit. I ought to know how to breathe. And I got to tell you what I was thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
The taking a big breath, that was nowhere in sight. And I said to myself, because I've been doing breath work enough, your breath hasn't left you, Kathleen. It hasn't left you. So just surrender. If I can't say surrender, what's another word?
Relinquish control.
Nah, because people get caught up in that also. They think, I can't relinquish control. I have to be in control. No, in this moment, my breath hasn't left me.
Yeah.
In this moment, I feel a little effed up. However, I'm willing to hold a little thought that I'm okay. And I said, all right, Kathleen, you're still breathing. And the breath just dissipated. And the panic just dissipated. And my breath just got its own rhythm. And I do that in my sessions. We started off because people come in with their own ideas, and the breath is the all in all. And it is inviting people to allow themselves to rest. Maybe that's a good word. To rest in the breath, because the breath has its own rhythm. And it's so beautiful and delicious when your breath begins to breathe you. So when you're in that moment, and those moments do come, first things first, all right, my breath hasn't stopped. I'm still breathing.
Yeah.
Because if your breath has stopped, got another issue there.
Right.
Even with some of my clients who are COPD people who have a lot of respiratory issues, many have said to me, I never thought I could take a breath like that again. I never thought that I would be able to breathe comfortably like this again.
Yeah.
So trust in your breath. Your breath is still there. And that is source. And if source God triggers you, again, fill in whatever works for you.
And how did you get into this work? Was it due to the passing of your mom, or was it prior to that you got into this work?
Prior to that, my life sucked. Oh my God.
Sorry.
It sucked. And it I was so unhappy. I didn't know how unhappy I was. Totally clueless. And there was, as there is in everyone, because I am no special than anyone who's listening or watching, there was just something within. And I call this the place of it's your core, it's your center, it's your place of peace, it's your place of calm, it's your place of focus that never ever leaves you. Something there just kept pulling me forward, saying, come on, there's more. And I heard that, and I went to different churches, I went to different workshops, I have books upon books in my library until I found a spiritual development course school that I went to, but I resisted. And we're human. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. As much as I felt the pull to come forward, there was also resistance.
Why?
Well, we're all like that. Let's take a lot of my clients. We could pretty much say all of them. I want peace. I want relaxation. I want calm. And then and you can feel it. I can feel it when the peace, when the love just drops into our breathwork circle and people resist. And we resist, I'll put that in too. We resist because we're so used to being like this. This has become being tight, constricted, just a ball of tension. And also the collective consciousness has drilled into the globe. It can't be easy. You can't have peace, yes.
Yeah. Do you think that tension and resistance is a cultural thing, like an American cultural thing, or do you find
I think
that
it's worldwide.
Okay.
Worldwide. I have clients all over the world, and it's not special to us here in the U.S. It's everywhere.
Interesting.
Yeah, everywhere.
And what was the moment that shifted in you where you said to yourself, I want to devote my life to this work?
I had gotten certified in breath work. I was still working at a really dead-end job. I had an injury, an accident at work, and I just didn't know what to do and wound up on my living room floor on my belly, face down, talking to God. And I said, in total surrender, what am I to do? I don't know what to do, because it just wasn't working. No money, hating the job and just unhappy. And I heard very, very clearly, you're to teach the breath. You're to go and you're to teach the breath everywhere. So I went back to my dead-end job. I worked it for 5 days, and anybody who would let me in their door to teach, I would teach breath work on my 2 days off. And I did that for about a year and a half. And finally, one day, with the support of a very dear friend, I hoisted my intestines, tied them in a nice little neat bow over the top of my head. And at 8:32 a.m., I pressed send, and I sent in my letter of resignation. And that next Friday, I was in Sing Sing prison, which is a maximum security prison, teaching breath work to 13 men.
Wow.
And I have, from that moment, I have had the honor to witness people rebirth themselves, and also to witness myself, because as I grieve my mother, I'm rebirthing myself. And to see people say yes to life, it's what I do is just so beautiful. It's a gift.
Yeah.
It's a gift. It really is a gift from Source to be able to watch, for instance, a client of mine who was unjustly incarcerated in prison for almost 10 years.
Wow.
Almost 10 years. And to watch her with the breath, to willingly release from her beingness, the injustice and the chains and the bars that she had put on herself. And we do that too. Those of us not incarcerated, we put ourselves in barriers, in bars also. And to watch her with the breath, to be able to taste freedom mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, and to want more. Genuinely want more for herself.
Yeah. What do those moments do for you? How do they fulfill you?
Well, right now,
Yeah,
I've got
chills.
goosebumps. It's so powerful. It's God. And again, I say, if that word doesn't work for anyone, fill in what does. You're in the presence of the Most High.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in the presence of the Most High, and you're touching within yourself your limitlessness, your infiniteness. It's, what word can I use? I mean, being one with God, to really get and to really understand, make the leap from here to here. Love created me like itself. God created me like itself. To be able to witness that, what a bad mamma jamma, and to see someone's life force just increase. And what it does for me is, I think of McFadden and Whitehead. I can't sing, so don't judge me. Ain't no stopping me now. I'm on the move. No texts or DMs on that. But yeah, there's no stopping you. And will I forget? Does the client forget at times? Absolutely. And the more that we do the breath work, the more that you touch that place within you, your breath guides you to that place and you remember.
Yeah.
You remember, it's like me training for my triathlons. I can't do a half Ironman today, right? I have to continue my training. And so today I may do a half a mile in the pool. And then 2 months from now I'm up to swimming a mile. That's training yourself. And so those moments where we freak out become less in frequency and less in intensity, and you can bounce back.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought music into the conversation because I'm a huge believer in music's healing power as well. So has music helped in your healing and breathwork journey? And if so, how?
Breathwork is the foundation of everything I do, because without breath, we're all el deado. So breathwork is my foundation. Everything I do, energy work, I teach energy work. That is really incredible. Music, yes, because I'm an OG, so I will put on my house music and just, it's through breathing. And you say that, it's so interesting because I had an experience on Sunday. It has been very funky for me the past couple of weeks. And Sunday, it was super duper funky and really challenging. My toolkit was out and I was using everything: breath, song, tapping, everything. And I was in the kitchen, and a song that my mother would have said, "Come on, let's dance to," came on.
You shared those.
And the song came on, and I could feel the energy of my mother take my hand, hold me around my waist, and we danced to the song. Don't get freaked out, Yeah. And it was beautiful. And thanks to the breath, and we could sit here and talk for a really long time. Let me back up a little bit. and do a little science also. The breath allows us to release cortisol, to really enhance our parasympathetic system so that we're not in fight or flight all the time. And one of the things I like to say, sometimes, yes, we need to be ready, set, leap, because there is a lion in our path. Most of the time, it's not a lion. And with the breath, we're able to just relax and be able to hear, because the breath really fine tunes our intuitiveness. And we're all intuitive, every single one of us, so that we're able to hear, go left, go right. Case in point again, today, it was I just kept hearing, don't take the subway to the studio, drive.
Yeah.
And thank goodness, since we had an earthquake and I was in what was a safe space in a car. Well, anyway. So able to hear and discern between your voice, because sometimes we have these little misbeliefs that just keep going and keep going, habitual thoughts that keep going, and to discern, no, that's not the one we need to follow. This is the higher vibration.
How do you discern that, though? How do you?
I tell you, with breath work, my ability to hear is so fine-tuned.
Wow.
And everyone has that power. I am not special. Hear that very clearly.
Yeah.
I do my breath work every day. I do that. I have a spiritual practice. So I'll do Course in Miracles, I'll do some journaling, but you hear. And the more that you're aware, even if you just say, well, is that real? That voice I just heard, that is still a building of muscle, because you're aware. Awareness is the first step in healing. As you're aware of these things, as you question and be willing to take a moment to listen, that's very important also. I find that in today's culture, people want it quick.
Yeah.
Well, can it happen quick? Yes. Will it? Probably not. However, if that is your intention, and if you just if you're just willing to be a little alert, Spirit is working with you and talking to you all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. So you're building a muscle. And as A Course in Miracles says, when you have those moments where drive or subway, I hear drive, I'm going to drive. That's a holy instant. That's like 99 hours in the gym,
Yeah. Wow. So for people that are skeptical about breath work, that think it's woo-woo, how do we get them engaged in this practice?
Are you kidding me? I gotta laugh at that. How can you think breath work is woo-woo? You freaking breathe every freaking day.
Yeah.
If you weren't breathing, you wouldn't be here listening or watching this podcast. So start there. Your breath woke you up. It woke you up. Your entire body works. You think, you move, you dance. You hear ideas of your book that's to come, your business that you're to birth, or baby that you're birthing. Your breath is getting all these different parts to work. So, is it woo-woo? Call me. Call me. I'll show you the woo. Seriously. And also, why not? Why not? There are dreams that you may have. You may be at a place that you want to go higher, or go to the left, or go to the right.
Yeah.
There are things that you want to call in, or you may even think, well, I'm not worthy of dreaming, or I've never dreamed. Try it. Why not? It is life force. Why not live your everyday in joy, with joy, happy? Now, with a breathwork practice, is it going to just totally do away with bad things? No. Like I said earlier, shit's gonna happen. However, now you've got a foundation upon which to stand. Springboard, hop left, hop right, hop higher, dig a deep hole, go around. You have a foundation upon which to move. You can hear that which is for your highest and greatest good. Why not? And also, the breath really works for the immune system. In this day and age, your body wants to be on and popping as best as it can. The breath is incredible for the respiratory system, your mind, your brain. People are living older, having a healthy mind, flexibility in your body. I mean, look at me doing triathlons.
That's
Go
awesome.
me!
Yeah, go you. Celebrate yourself. That's amazing. I remember on our last call, you mentioned that people need to get over the stigma of needing help. You said, there's nobody walking this planet who isn't fucked up. Can you expand on this?
Yeah, we're all fucked up. Yeah, I'm fucked up. That's why I've got a therapist, a breathwork coach, and a life coach. Hell yeah. I can't do it by myself. I can't. We all need support. We all do at some time, and it's okay. There is nothing shameful or to feel guilty about needing some support. And we all have within us stuff that happened in utero. Let me just use myself as an example. Wait, hold on. I have to stay in integrity. I do have family members. My father was not a very nice individual. I was sexually abused as an infant and a toddler, and my father was also, he physically abused my mother. So in my, and trauma gets stuck in our muscles, right? And all of us walking, all of us have some type of something stuck up in there. And that very clearly was all up in my body, because when I have, through breath work, a memory of my father physically assaulting my mother while she was pregnant within me. And that came forward for me in a breathwork session. And I knew that if I didn't keep breathing, that would stay in my body. And that had already set itself up as a misbelief, a bad habit thought for myself that was just a blockade. And we all have them. We all have them. And I knew that if I didn't keep breathing, that misbelief would keep running my life, right? So I have experienced personally and professionally that as you keep breathing, because if it comes up, and please stop me if I'm not being clear, if it comes up in a breathwork session, it comes up to be healed, to be released, to be manifested, to be dissolved, whatever. So I knew I had to go in and keep going. And I was working with someone who I knew had me. And I knew to just keep breathing, and I had someone by my side. So that was an instant where I got to shift, rewrite, release, rejuvenate myself with a thought or belief that heretofore had been running my life.
Yeah.
And that showed up, just taking it back a little bit, as not working at the same job, having a job that I really enjoyed longer than 2 years. So does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does. And it brought up a follow-up question, because you mentioned that it came up for you and you allowed it to release.
Yeah.
But what happens when it comes up for someone and they push it down?
Well, that's why you have a really good breathwork facilitator working with you, because
Yes.
if not, it can get a little funky. No joke.
Mm.
No joke. And I've had clients who have come up against, because we're going to come up against our shit, but we also want to keep it in because we're comfy cozy. It's what we know. However, it's coming up because your soul is ready to release it.
Yeah.
So you work with someone. Let me give another person. I was working with in a corporate setting, someone who put into the circle that they wanted to just walk into their home after a day at work and not be mad all the time and throw things. And that was in the circle.
Mhm.
Because if it's in one chair, as my teacher says, if it's in one chair, it's somewhere, someplace else. Bet your bottom dollar. And that was with everyone else. And in a corporate setting, a lot of people are feeling that way with work. And to just begin the breath work and also do a little bit of energy work, because spirit will flow through me and share with me how to flow, to release that, I'm getting so excited. I don't want to get ahead of myself. To be able to rest in the breath so that the anxiousness, the cortisol that's coming forward with that thought doesn't take you out of the vagus nerve and the parasympathetic machinations of the breath, so that you rest in the breath and you're able to, holding both, right? Able to put that, and I can't believe I'm walking in angry and I'm breaking things, to be able to put that on this side of the table.
Yeah.
Not to shove it off the table, but to put it on that side of the table and to stay with the breath, to stay with the calm, so that now new neural pathways are created in the brain and we create new habits, new ways of being. And you're coming from a place of relaxation, not like this.
Yeah.
To be able to relax, create a new habit, to be able to see a new way of being. You know, I want to say this for everyone who is listening. Some things cannot be quantified. The breath has a power. There is an essence of breath that cannot be quantified. Trust your breath. It has a power that will take you to places that your mind, small m, can't even fathom.
Wow.
It can't be quantified. We live in a society now where they want to measure everything. Okay, great, measure, and not everything can. Yet you get to live the results of the benefits of the breath.
You've mentioned spirit a lot, and I'm interested in this idea of breath being the spirit. What's your relationship to spirit? And for you, does it come from God, ancestors, or something else?
Oh, it's all of the above. You know, for me, spirit is everybody. There's no discrimination. You know, if you call God Big Papa, or if you call it, hey, bow bow tree, what's happening? How's it hanging today? Spirit doesn't care. It's, for me, it's one energy, one source that loves you no matter how you try to distinguish yourself or label yourself. Doesn't care. Doesn't care the color of your skin. Doesn't care who's snoring in your ear. Doesn't care who you love. Doesn't care what color panties you have on.
That was hilarious. Thank you. Okay. All right. So now that you've invested so much time and energy into your own healing and helping others through breath work, what have been some of your moments of sunshine along the way?
Oh, so many. Dancing with my mommy last Sunday was a moment of sunshine.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big one. Doing my cold plunges, that's sunshine. And it's interesting. That's a really good question. The fact that I'm able to get up and talk and speak about the breath and grief without having my underwear on top of my head while my mother is no longer physically walking the planet, that is sunshine. The deeper connection with Source that happens continually with the breath, that is sunshine. And also, when I completed the swim leg of the half Ironman last year during freaking Tropical Storm Ophelia, dear goodness, yeah, that's sunshine.
You're an athlete, which is incredible. How has movement helped you in your healing journey in addition to your breathwork practice?
It took me a long time to move. When my mother passed, I was, if it wasn't a French fry or a piece of chicken, I didn't move.
Wow.
And that's what I mean about discernment with the breath. I had nothing for nobody. Whatever I had, I had to save it for me. And it took me quite a while to move. I've always been athletic, but I was, and people were telling me lovingly, but I wanted to punch them in the face. Being perfectly honest, they were telling me, Kathleen, you need to go back to yoga. You need to do this. And I'm like, kiss my butt. My mother just passed. Move. I got to answer the door for Grubhub. Here comes my French fries. And I trusted the breath to guide me when I would be ready to move. And I didn't do shit until then.
Yeah, when you were ready.
When I was ready.
That's the
and
key.
I didn't know, and I trusted, again, this is the key, I trusted the breath to let me know when I was ready. That's the discernment piece I'm talking about. And then came forward a triathlon, and I've been on and popping since then.
That's awesome. Well, how can people find you, and what kind of offerings do you have?
I offer corporate and private sessions. I do workshops, speaking engagements. Reach out on Instagram. I am Kathleen Booker. And for anyone who's listening, if you want to talk about the breath and how the breath will, because I know that it will work for you, reach out to me and I'll offer to your listeners a free 15-minute chat.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
I'll actually take advantage of that too.
Well, girl, you got me on speed dial.
Oh, that's sweet. Is there anything else you want the listeners to know about the power of breathing beyond it being a necessity to stay alive?
Your breath loves you. It will remind you of the truth of yourself. And that truth is that you are whole, you are loved, you are limitless, and you're safe.
That part. I think safety is important.
Safety is important.
Wow. Well, Kathleen, what a burst of sunshine you are. This has been an incredibly energizing yet calm, informative conversation. Thank you for unlocking the power of the breath and sharing your gift with the world. You are greatly appreciated.
I want to say to you, thank you so much. I am deeply honored to have the opportunity to sit at this table with you, young queen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Continue doing what you're doing. You are an incredible light in the world, an incredible light. Don't ever forget that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have to shout out my goddaughter because she went to Howard.
Hate you. And that's our show. I'm your host, Victoria Fortune. Taylor Hosking is our producer. Our recording engineer from this episode is Josh Wilcox at Brooklyn Podcasting Studio. Our cover art was designed by Shaquille Greeley. Music is from Epidemic Sounds. You can join our community on Instagram at Sunshine and Rain Podcasts, spelled out as one word. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe from wherever you get your podcasts. While I love building this community that I hope can support each of us on our healing journeys, I want to remind you that Sunshine and Rain is not intended to be a replacement for therapy or seeing a licensed health professional. I encourage everyone to seek out professional help if needed. Thanks again for joining us, and I hope you have a bright and sunshiny day.